essentially got 300 children to participate in a writing workshop. They were asked to describe a day they would never forget. The idea is that the audience, simply by the skill of the writers and actors, will be transported into these children's shoes. We believe that communication and self-expression is a really important part of human development, and that the children that we work with are getting slightly left behind when it comes to that. By giving them access to the arts, it will give them an opportunity to empathise, express, communicate with themselves, their peers, their wider communities. In doing so, they'll look towards finding a solution to the very serious issues that they're facing.
It's in a wonderful space. I sort of grew up in this theatre, so it's a bit of a homecoming for me. Amazing, intimate theatre, 400 seats, and wherever you sit in the theatre, you feel like, well, and wherever you are on the stage, you feel like you're connected. Some of the stories are extraordinary moments, extraordinary little drama, event, stories, glimpses.
I killed my papa. I did. It was me!
To see that manifested in actual pieces is a lovely extension of the work, really. You know, and obviously it's a fundraiser, and it's wonderful that people are going to come along and give some money to, you know, something that is just win-win for everybody. You know, from kids who, in some circumstances, not all of them, in some circumstances, they haven't got a lot to win, you know, at the moment.
1, 2, and go.
On the same night, at exactly the same time, the kids themselves are participating in the monologues. They're performing themselves. Some of the children who wrote the original testimony are performing their own monologues. Some have decided not to do that, and they've got friends or family to do it for them.
The last truck came around the corner too fast, and the driver of that truck lost control. He tried to avoid us.
It's Danny. Do you remember Chris? Oh yes, Chris, Danny. Chris has
And sling some quality yogurt in my face. I keep dancing. I keep walking. I keep diving.
The schedule is absolutely bananas. We have 17 actors, we have 13 writers, we have 17 pictorial artists, we have 10 musicians and 3 directors, and goodness knows how many volunteers, bless them. Everyone is working in 15-minute slots with Danny on stage. It is crazy.
I arise! I shine!
It's like trying to juggle spaghetti.
You see, to me, that's what being clever is. Knowing lots of things about the world that other people don't. Magic facts.
It's quite a light-hearted piece, actually, I think, which seems, from what I gather so far, a bit of an exception in this. I think I might be a bit of light relief.
I can hide inside the jacket pockets when it rains outside, and when it lasts, the whole house rumbles and shakes, and I have to just fix myself to the walls like that to keep from being blown away.
It's a boy talking about his love for his father, and what a great, strong, sturdy figure he is, and he compares him to a tree.
My father, David Rack-Watt. He's a tree. He's a tree. He's the tallest tree I've ever known.
Well, I think it's a bit of a lifesaver, really. I think it's one of the great ways of expressing sometimes repressed emotions, or any kind of emotion. I, again, from a personal point of view, I know that the arts became very important in my life at a difficult time in my life when I was a teenager, and I found it a great release.
That was brilliant.
I think that storytelling, and for me, you know, growing up as a mode of self-expression, is really important.
He said we had a good story to tell, but I'm not sure that we do. Ministers telling us that lots of garlic cures HIV.
It's that relationship between the actors and the audience, I think, and the words that make their connection with thousands of miles away, actually, in that moment. And it's a wonderful, powerful thing.
I can't afford to cut you any slack. Not when you and me are all we have, or what we have.
An artistic way of expressing yourself is a very important cathartic element as well, and I think does help deal with internally some of the issues and some of the trauma.
And lose the light as he flows, Chris.
You guys all right? Did you do your on-stage rehearsal? Yeah. How'd it go?
Anger. What do you do with your anger, please?
As the tech lady rather beautifully said to me, I'm playing under Nicole Kidman, which is something I've been dreaming about for many years. She's doing a monologue and I'm playing a Chopin prelude while she does that.
Nicole Kidman I bumped into at a farmer's market, and like a crazy-eyed lunatic, I approached her and told her briefly about the project, and she had the good grace to listen to me.
Nicole, the piano go first?
He should start.
Just about. Right.
I'm not naive enough for a minute to think that in places with the most appalling deprivation and abuses of human rights and social injustices and rape and, I mean, the most appalling circumstances, music isn't going to fix that.
I refuse to laugh. Why should I laugh? I refuse to eat. Why should I eat?
But what it will do, what it did for me, and what I know it does for countless millions, is that it can provide just enough light to hang on in there.
I've been angry as long as I can remember. The only man who could stop me was my father.
We essentially have 8 hours to rehearse a fully professional show, and we've got a lot of moving parts, but I think it's going okay.
She died. I locked myself in my bedroom and cried. I felt like it was my fault.
Every kid knows how to pretend. Every kid plays pretend on a daily basis. So drama is the next logical step.
I told her when she was sick in the hospital that I would be all right.
These kids have written their own stories. I think it's very, very therapeutic to write down what it is that you have gone through. It helps in both, I think, sort of healing wounds and also just allowing you the perspective to deal with something and not let it grow too large in your own subconscious.
Wow, these look great. They look fabulous. This is my favourite. I love this one. We have these amazing artists who've also each drawn an individual portrait of the individual children whose testimony inspired the monologues. Ruby, can you remind me who's doing the art auction? Whoever's doing the auction needs to set prices for them. So we have this drama with wings. One of the roles needs wings and we're not sure whether we're going to use them. So we're going to go and find them now and show Danny and see what happens.
Good, and then you take it off.
It's about this dance battle that happens in South Africa where they have to like buy the most expensive like custards and Coke and like all this kind of like brand name stuff, and they kind of like throw custard and cake and stuff all over them to prove who's the richest and the highest status.
These are Daniel's wings, aren't they amazing? Yeah. Just got to figure out whether Danny wants them.
I call upon the first miracle of God. Let there be light. The cloud is in a frenzy of shock and awe.
These children have had the most unimaginable extremes of life forced them in their innocence, and because of that, it makes it incredibly hard to process. And how do you continue your life? How do you begin to rebuild your life when it's been destroyed in some cases at such a young age? And to some extent, art can help with that, and telling your story is a way of compartmentalizing that pain, of being able to objectify it and understand it, and also distance yourself from it and heal, slowly heal. I mean, how, I don't know, because some of the extremes are just breathtakingly shocking.
I went to South Africa last year. I was shooting there actually, and I had the privilege of visiting the townships, and I met some children in the townships, and just seeing them moved me so much, and interacting with them. And so when this opportunity came up, and I had the chance to be able to be a voice for them and communicate, creatively communicate their experience, their life experience, to people who otherwise would be completely unaware of what they're going through, their joys and their suffering. I had to be a part of it.
These monologues are very beautiful, very harrowing at times as well, and very funny at times. And they find the truth in that, really, and they have to do it very, very quickly, with no rehearsal time at all.
I don't like to think what might have happened to my friend, what might have happened to the other people that disappear from my village. I don't like to have that thought in my brain. The bodies that they find every week, rotting in the fields. I think it's both empowering for those who are giving their testimony to these monologues, and also for the people that are going to be receiving them in the audience tonight and back in Africa as well.
This is our story, this is our fate, this is our kingdom, this is our place, this is our freedom, cut off them chains, this is our struggle, this is our pain, this is our love, this is our trust, this is our daughters, this is our sons. Give me back my wings.
Then she shows me a film on her phone and it blows my mind.
This is a young girl whose name is Beyonce, and somebody visits her township, and an English woman visits her township and is enthralled by the idea that her name is the same as Beyonce the star.
I can see a halo, halo, halo.
She's relaying the experience of finding out who Beyonce the star is, and what that meant to her, finding out her namesake is someone who is so admired and revered by people across the world, and the impact that Beyonce had on this little girl. And it's such a beautiful monologue.
And then there was a gunshot, you understand? And we heard a shout of, "We don't care!"
I think it's incredibly healing to have someone listen to you.
What can't you try? What can't you try?
Being a child of African descent myself, it was very important for me to allow the youth, the children, opportunity to express themselves.
What can you drive? What can you drive? This is a big question to ask. What can you drive?
Often the only thing that separates them from us is that opportunity.
It's the Antarctic, which is to the south, and that's why the water's cold.
Those shoes, they were so bright and new. They made Nelly look like he could fly. When he got home that night, when he took them off, he put them beside his mattress. If it had been allowed, he would have slept in them. But Mum, she said that only a fool wears his running shoes to lie down in. But that didn't stop him. Maybe the men wouldn't have seen him wearing them, for one thing, and they wouldn't have followed him to the corner store and waited for him to come out and followed him home just as it was getting dark. They wouldn't have told him to take the shoes off, hand them over, these things that he owned, that he had paid for with his coins from sweets and sandwiches and walking, just there in the dusty township street. They wouldn't have taken the only thing that he possessed. If only Mum had let him wear them to his bed.
My name is Ntabale. It means be happy for me.
I'm a huge believer in drama
therapy and therapy through storytelling.
I've been taught not to hate. We don't hate. That's what my father tells me.
There's a huge lifeline that I was given when I got into the creative arts, and storytelling is a huge part of that.
I'm too young for that, I say, but they scream in my face with their drunken breath and tell me that yes, I am a man, and I am old enough for this.
Well, the doctors, they gave me pills, but my aunt says I must take them because this African paganism must stop. What is dead is dead.
When I was 13 years old, I was raped. It was my uncle, my grandmother's son. He climbed in my window in the middle of the night and It isn't a big enough word to say what he did.
I raged and raged for days and nights and days. I broke everything in sight. I got into fights. I wanted to hurt others, and I wanted to hurt myself.
She was scared too, and she was trying to look after us and the ghost, and as the shots came, bang, bang.
Hate.